Before we start this report, I need to shed my perspective on Manny Pacquiao's offer to Floyd to take, is it 45 or whatever it was, and his admission that he will submit to VADA, or is it USADA, drug testing. Now, everybody's saying, why doesn't Floyd just take the fight? Why didn't he just take the fight? Come on, look. Come on, guys. You're dealing with, forget the boxers. No, include the boxers, because they're the biggest part of the business franchise. They know the runnings and the shenanigans. They know all about getting one up on your competition. Now, it all sounds very attractive and very tempting. Man, he's submitting to everything. But this is what you need to really consider. Business deals are not inked out in front of the public glare. Yeah? Yeah, you get the occasion where Dawson calls out Ward and the fight just happens. You get that, yeah? But for the most part, and just forget boxing, how much major business deals have you seen go down under the public glare? Where someone says, well, okay, I offer this and I offer that, it's a fair deal, it's done. No, it doesn't happen like this. That's why they have boardrooms, which we're not privy to. And then often, the business decisions just come out of the blue. Oh, okay, that's happening. This and that's happening. This fight's happening. This franchise chain of burger bars is opening. That's how it works. So Manny doing all that shit while he's in preparation for another fight against a tough opponent. You need to really put some shade on that shit, man. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because let's face it, he's fighting Marquez, I don't know the exact date, it's this year. Yeah? Right? A Floyd fight from now is going to take over a year before it ever materializes with Manny. Well over a year. And in between now and then, anything could happen. Like, you know, Manny could look like real doo-doo and still win. Another controversial win. Who's going to want to see the fight? If he's gifted another decision. If he gets outpointed or beaten thoroughly, who's going to want to see the fight? You know? I mean, Manny's doing his thing. He's fighting someone. What if Floyd says, well, boy, I'm just going to take Canelo on or something, you know? I mean, I'm going to fight Bradley. You know? What if Floyd decides that? What are you going to say? He's ducking? Because that seems to me a credible choice of opponents. He might just do his own thing. And you guys should know this. He should have been saying all this when he had a free window with no one Manuel Marquez in front of him. That's how you do that shit. Come on, man. I mean, if this fight takes 1.5 years before it's possible to materialize, 1.5 years in boxing years, in life years, it's an age. It's an age away. I mean, you can't foresee your circumstances in a 1.5 years. You can to a degree. You're going to make certain contingencies and plans. But yo, there's going to be some unknowns. Some good, some bad, that are going to work into play into your life in a 1.5 years' time. And that's the truth. And I think one thing a lot of people are realizing now is that you just have to play it straight down the line. This is not a dig at Manny. And let me show you why. It's like when Floyd made the phone call to Manny and it was public to everybody. That's theatre. That's not business negotiation. What have we got to do with the business negotiation? That's just theatre and pantomime for us. Manny played along with it. Floyd played along with it. Leonard Ellaby played along with it. Bob Arum played along. It's theatre. That's not real. That's not real. They ink deals sitting down. Trust me on this, yeah? Manny saying, yeah, this, that, VADA, and 45%. Let me tell you this now. When Michael Kantz and Bob Arum are going into bat to get what they can out of the contract negotiations. It's not going to be, you know, what Manny just said there, clean cut. Like, no. They're going to try and extract a little more juice from out the fruit. Trust me on that. And we will not be privy to that. Right? Yeah, I mean, it will happen. It will be negotiated. And if the fight happens, they'll announce it to us. Yeah? We won't be privy to the fine tooth comb negotiations. We won't be. You know what I mean? We won't be. And even Ward and Dawson, that seemed like it negotiated fairly easy. And it did. But at the same time, we didn't see when the management and the lawyers were going into bat. Trust me, there was a little power struggle there too. You know, because them guys just don't, throw a contract. They don't do that. They don't do that. The whole business demeanor demands that it's a beating chesting. It's primal. Like, they're in business suits, but it's still very primal. They have to make the other party acknowledge, we in the fucking building. You know what I mean? I'm here talk, no. Like, people on my end of the pay scale, we don't realize. And sometimes we need to listen when rich people speak. Not in awe, but when they say certain things like, look, you need to get yourself a decent solicitor for a lot of the shit you go through in your life. Because if you get and you pay for a good solicitor or lawyer and they're going to bat for you, that's what they're trained to do. Yeah? They don't just, even if it is an easy negotiation, they still browbeat and bang on their chests. Because they're beasts, just like the boxers are beasts. These solicitors, and look, they're in beast mode. When they're going into that meeting, they are in beast mode. That's how it works. That's how it works. You know what I mean? So let's take Floyd's phone call with a pinch of salt, and let's take what Manny said recently with a pinch of salt too, and leave it at that. Let's get on with this report. I don't know about you, man, but this recent Mayweather, Robinson, and Pacquiao debate, one thing it's done for me, it's brought amazing clarity. I've seen some just stand up, keep it real videos where people have just spoke their minds, and it's inspired me. And I've got a newfound vigor for this shit. And I'm going to tell you this from now. If you've got a boxing channel up and you make a video that I don't agree with, in fact, let me rephrase that. I don't care if I don't agree with it. No. Let me rephrase that. If I don't like the video, because there's a lot of videos I don't agree with that I like. If I don't like the video that you've done, I'm going to tell you beforehand in the comment box that I am thumbsing it down. And I don't care if I've dialogued with you from day and we're cool. I don't care. I'm going to, that's how real I'm going to keep it from now. You know, and it's made me look at a lot of my own biasness, yeah? And I'm going to try and be as straight down the middle as I can. As I can. And if that means I've got to, you know what I mean, like get on the wrong side of one of my subscribers or on channels that I'm cool, so be it. But this shit now, it's, I love it. You know, because I think for a minute, the YouTube community was getting to, yeah, man, nice video, man, and this, that. And no one was challenging. And this is where it needs to go. And where it needs, if it's going to stay fresh, like 80s and early 90s hip hop, that's where it has to stay, bubbling, you know. The minute that it gets to the BET stage where it's just in the club drinking champagne and, you know what I mean, we got the big booty. When it gets there, then it's fucked. Right? You know what I mean? Then it's fucked. You know, like when you see an interview of a really articulate MC, you say, yo, this guy's got his spit game intact. And then they ask him a question about a bubblegum, bubblehead, knucklehead MC. One of them MCs. And then they say, yo, what do you think of him? Yeah, man, his music's all right. How can you think his music's all right? And you've got such a wide, vast of vocab skills. How can you actually think that's all right? That's not you being honest. That's you towing the line. That wasn't your real answer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. This is how real I'm going to keep it. I'm going to tell you beforehand that I'm thumbsing down the video. It's like there's some guy who was subscribed to his channel and I had to block his bitch, punk, fucking, you know what I mean, persona. Because, check this out. He didn't agree with my video about Andre Ward being the pound for pound best. He didn't agree with it. He thought the Dawson fight was a sham. So he makes this big eye-watery comment on my channel. You know what I mean? And I said, look, disagreeing is cool. You know what I mean? And then he starts babbling. He's literally crying in the comments board. He's literally crying. And then, because I don't put up high figures in terms of views, right? I can correlate certain events, right? As soon as he put up the 2 comments, an unusual pattern happened with my video stats. Within a minute of him making that comment and me having the dialogue with him, there was 2 dislikes on the video. And then I made another video in support of Andre Ward. And he made another derogatory comment, and then there was another 2 dislikes. But it wasn't a bad derogatory comment. He said this, that, blah, 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 and then he says peace. I mean, look. He says peace.
Hey, peace of what? You can't mean P-E-A-C-E, cause I've seen people on the streets shoot the next man and turn around and say peace. But that's leaving people in pieces. It's not what the meaning of peace is.
If you're going to say peace to me and then dislike the video and pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about when I confront you, and then guess what the pussy hole did? He made another derogatory comment concerning Andre Ward in one of my videos. But this time, he changed his name. And I looked at the comment and I thought to myself, oh no, I've got an innate sense about a lot of things. I'm not saying I'm psychic Sally or anything or clairvoyant, but we all have it. We don't all tap into it. When I read this comment, and I don't normally do this, I do it sometimes, but rarely. I read the comment, and then I said, let me go on this guy's homepage. And I said, see, I could see he changed the logo, but there were certain things I recognized that it was his channel, and he changed his name. He even changed his country location from Senegal to Switzerland. And I thought, whoa. Because I actually banned him and I said, look, let me give him a second chance. I said, give you a second chance. And then when I saw him doing that, I said, you know something, dude? You're staying banned. I said, you're doing some real sneaky I'd hate to be your friend in real life, man. Yeah, I mean, because I'd either have to stay away from you or... It's arms house, isn't it? It's got to be arms house. I mean, gosh, man. No. Come on, dude. That's just slimy, runty. I don't tolerate them people in my real life. And I know it's solely the virtual world, but I won't tolerate them in the virtual world. Well, I will. If they are straight up. If you're a scumbag, but you let me know you're a scumbag, you know what I mean? To a certain degree, I can deal with it. There was a guy I used to work with who was in the BNP, but he came out and said it. He didn't hide it. He came out and said it. And to be honest, I didn't have no problems all the time I was working with him. I had problems with other workers, sometimes with black workers, right? Caucasian workers. I didn't have not one problem with this guy. And I think it's because funny enough, it's something I said in my video the other day. He doesn't take all that shit home with him. He just comes out and says it. I'm in the PMP, so he doesn't need to go over you fucking niggas. He doesn't need to. He's just staying who he is. He's relieved his chest of the burden. It's pussies who don't speak their mind who are the problem, and they walk about like, yeah, they're cool and they're PC and they're not racist and they're not biased, and you know, it's damn pussies who are the problem. They've probably got dual identities when they come on the internet and they just start trolling. Bullshit. And the next day, you're all right, mate. You're all right, hey, mate. Yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you, man. You know, it's them. And I don't want them subscribed to the channel. I don't want them subscribed. I want somebody to come and say, yeah, look, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, I follow your channels, I like a lot of your videos, but I don't like this one. I'm going to thumbs it down. I want you to be that real. I'll just say big up. Big yourself up. Big up yourself. And I realized I have to sort of like widen out my range of subscribers and videos that I watch. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to get clicked up. No, I'm just telling all the channels, all the boxing channels, don't get clicked up where you're clicked up with certain people, because it will make you think about saying certain things because you're used to their patterns. You're getting used to their patterns, man. You know? Try and keep your shit a little edgy, out of the comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this because I disagreed with a lot of his points, but, you know, I think blood boxing was a great example of that. I'm just going to come out and say that, you know what I mean? I didn't agree with a lot of it. He was a great example of, yo, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Fuck that shit. And, you know, you can only admire that. You can only admire that. And before you guys get it twisted, I said I didn't agree with a lot of what he was saying. I didn't say I didn't like the video. The video was outstanding. Right? Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference. He came out and said why he was supporting Floyd. Because it became into a tribal and racial battle. The Flomo and Pactar dynamic was getting taken out of the context of resumes and legacies and mano a mano in the ring. It was getting taken out of that context. It started to resemble that Spike Lee flick with Radio Raheem. I need 8D batteries for my ghetto blaster. How much is that? Yes, D, motherfucker, D. Fuck off! That's what it started. I mean, it was getting to that stage, you know? And I won't say that the Floyd-Pacquiao dynamic affected me like that. I'll tell you who it affected me with. It's Adrian Broner. When a lot of people were criticizing Broner, oh, he thinks he's Floyd, man, he's too flash, man, and this and that. Boy, I recognized him as a precocious talent. And I can't lie to anybody. I can't lie to anybody. But when people say the N-word, either me or, I mean, people from my ethnicity, the red mist just sets in. I just want to kill everything. I can't lie. I can't lie. I just want to kill everything. Right? Especially if I haven't took it there in the first place. Yeah? And that started making me do things like, yeah, he did beat Ponce de Leon, even though I know that it was a very contentious decision. Broner did throw some good punches in that fight. I don't care what nobody wants to say. And he did hold the ring center for a big periods of the bout. But it was a contentious decision. But I was coming out saying, nah, he beat him. And I'm not sure if he did, to be honest. I'm not sure if he did. And when I have to do things like that, it makes me feel really shitty, man. It does, you know, because I'd rather just play it straight down the line. But that's what racism and tribalism does. When you start darting away from the facts because you want to hurt the person who you're corresponding with, you know, and you want to support Pacquiao or Floyd so badly, then you allow, you know, you give room for bullshit to replace proper adult dialogue, you know? And it's never good. That's just never good, man. It's never good. It's never good. You see, the thing is, you shouldn't just say, well, why are you making such a big deal? It's only boxing in your leisure time on the internet. You shouldn't look on things like that. You should look at your leisure time as a microcosm and a gateway to how you might implement aspects of your leisure time into your social life, into your career, into your family, you know? And you should be able to apply aspects of that into other aspects of your life. You should be able to. There should be a certain amount of consistency there. Yeah? And look, I know when some of you come out of the YouTube boxing community, I mean, you're going on your porn sites and them thing there and doing your business. Now, look, obviously, as men, you don't want to be discussing all of your bedroom business or your sexual habits with the dudes you're corresponding with about boxing with. You don't, I mean, not, you get what I'm saying, right? Because I don't, I don't want to know what you're doing. I don't want to fucking know, right? That's boundaries. That's boundaries, yeah? So we understand that. You know, I mean, it's like when baby lion cubs play with each other. They're learning, they're playing, but they're learning how to be adults, how to develop hunting techniques and, you know, grow into full lions, you know what I mean? You can't just say, well, yeah, I'm just having a laugh on the internet. No. If you do bullshit, it's going to follow other aspects of your life. There's no way you can just make cut-off point. You can't be absurdly biased in certain aspects of your life and then you expect to be straight down the line and rational in others. It's just not going to fly. Not unless you're one of them psychotic split personality motherfuckers who murder women at night and then you come into school as the school teacher wearing a tweed jacket and shit. Them man there, you know what I mean? Because if you are, then you can't account for that. Then you're a sick motherfucker. You know, but you need consistency. In your leisure time, your career time, in the time of your kids, your family, you need consistency, you know? You can't say to yourself, well, I'm just going to walk all over this girl because I haven't got no feelings for her, but I'm going to treat this girl good because I think I love her. No. It won't work like that. It will not work like that. If you correlate your life to nature, everything grows and develops and has a path of consistency to it. And you need to have that, and I need to have that too. I need to have that. You know? Like, I'm not going to say the name of the guy. I've got a Polish subscriber. The reason I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to put him out there and everyone put, you fucking racist. Because when I made a video about Eddie Chambers getting robbed against Thomas Adamic, we went at it and yeah, there was some racial diatribes thrown between us and eventually, like, you know, we found a neutral ground in just talking about boxing, you know what I mean? And that stopped. And he subbed my channel and I subbed this. And we don't correspond all the time. Yeah, we don't correspond all the time. But I like to think I've left some kind of positive impression on the guy. I'd like to think, whether I have or not, I don't know. I'd like to think that. And I'm guessing that because in the virtual world we're cool now, he's thinking the same thing. And that can't be a bad thing, you know what I mean? Another aspect I like about a channel is like if you cover a certain topic, like I spoke about Leonard and Pryor, and that sparked off International Boy and Check Left Hook. Like they're having a dialogue on my comment section. It's a good dialogue, you know what I mean? And I've stayed out of it deliberately. I've wanted to chime in a few times, but I'm just seeing where they take it, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's best just to let them go at you, you know what I mean? And they both put up some very strong points. But I'm going to say this. As much as we want fighters just to jump in the ring and fight this guy, Pryor is just too dangerous a fight for the money compared to what Leonard... It was just too dangerous a fight. And people say, well, there's no way that Ray ducked Pryor and then fought Hagler. It makes no sense. Why would Ray be afraid of Pryor but not Hagler? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Pryor was a fucking animal. Because Pryor would throw the same volume of punches in round 15, because it's probably 15 rounds where I taught back then, that he would in round 1 and 2. When you used to hit Pryor, he used to get rejuvenated. He used to get energy. He wasn't a normal fighter. He wasn't a normal fighter. Now, don't get me wrong. You can't put Pryor in the ring with Hagler. Hagler would squash him like a bug. Right? I mean, there's just no doubt about that. Right? But styles make fights. Styles make fights. Pryor beat Tommy Hearns as an amateur. Alexis Arguello sat on the canvas looking up and saying, what can I do? I've hit you so many times and you're not budging. And you're still there. You're still throwing volume punches at me. He just sat, he wasn't concussed as such. He just sat on the canvas like, there's just nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. Right? Pryor would have set Ray a whole different set of problems that Hearns would or Benitez. Right? There's just no doubt about that. And to be honest, I would probably say Ray might have shaded it, but I wouldn't bet no money on it. See, the thing is, I think sometimes, you see, we really have to look at it like things like this. Guys like Ray might have a Coca-Cola advertisement sponsorship. You know, I know it's got nothing to do with boxing, yeah? If word gets back to Coca-Cola that Ray is just taking crazy risks that might demean his worth to Coca-Cola for advertising and promoting their products, probably lose the deal. They say, well, why are you doing that? Why are you taking this hard fight on? You know, look, I don't like when Steve Bunce comes out and says, well, you see, I mean, a lot of casual armchair fans, they don't understand. Fights just can't be made like that. You know what I mean? It's got to make business sense and all this and that. And we're thinking from our YouTube channels and our armchair, look, just get the fucking fight on. I do that. It's just too risky a fight. It's too risky a fight, you know, for the money that Ray has earned in previous fights against people like Duran and Hearns. If Aaron can secure Leonard a 6-7 million purse, then there's a chance that that fight might have taken place. But if Ray's going to get, I don't know, peanuts to what he can normally command. And look, I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm not saying I agree with that. But I think sometimes we have to look on it in terms, what if you was the franchise of all them millions? What would you do? And look, you might make the decision to say, look, legacy over money. You might well do. But let me tell you this. You're going to think about it first. There's no way you're just going to say, boom, you're going to sit down and study that, because that's financial mathematics you're dealing with. You're going to study that. In my opinion, in Aaron's prime, he would have steamrolled over guys like Duran. He probably would have beat Tommy Hearns. Tommy is not the strongest fighter when it goes over 7 or 8. And if it goes over there, I just can't see anybody else in the fight except Pryor at his peak. He just got stronger. He just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. You know? They used to say, Pryor get hit, Pryor get mad. You know what I mean? I was saying there's no big names on his resume. They wouldn't fight him. They wouldn't fight. Duran didn't fight him. Duran didn't fight Pryor. Hearns never called him out. So I'm saying there's no big names on there. He fought all of his mandatories. He took the title off a great champion in Cervantes. that affected his resume. Maybe that's why he went off the rails and started sniffing the yayo. Because he said, well, what's the point of this? You know, because when he was defending against Akio Kameda, I remember that. That's not big money defenses. He didn't want them fights. He wanted big fights. What's the point of having all that talent and you're not being able to utilize it on the biggest stage? But, you know, that is how boxing is structured. Whether we like it or not, it's always been like that. Yeah? Muhammad Ali in the third fight with Ken Norton. Like, and this is not me making it up. It's stories I read in boxing publications in the 80s. Yeah? And it's a common theme that Ali was given the decision because who else could flagship boxing at that time? Basically, that's the reason he was given the decision. There was nobody who could carry the sport like he did. It was vital he didn't lose. And it was a similar story when he fought Jimmy Young. These are disputed decisions. I've only seen highlights of the fight. I haven't seen the whole 15-rounder. But a lot of people said that Ali lost the fight against Jimmy Young. A lot of people. In fact, when I come off here, I might have to just YouTube that up and just catch up and add another dimension to the Ali story, you know what I mean? And watch that fight. I've only seen highlights of it, but the highlights I saw, they were favoring Young. They was favoring Young. See, that's two decisions. Should we use that as weight to discredit Ali's resume? We could do. We could do, you know? And I do feel we need to be able to look at the old legends with a critical eye, you know? Because I'm going to keep it real with you, man. I'm going to keep it real, yeah? When Ali came back after the draft in the 70s and he was fighting, I remember watching him fight Ron Lyle. He fought Ron Lyle. And he knocked out Lyle eventually. You know what I mean? He got the job done. But I saw Ali trying to set up attacks by leading off. And he was terrible. Sloppy punches. He was not a perfect fighter. He was a great fighter. Ali was not a perfect fighter. And look, let's get this clear. I'm not putting Floyd Mayweather above Ali for a second. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But Floyd can fight on the back foot and he can lead. Yeah? Right? You know what I'm saying? He can turn defense into attack. Floyd is multifaceted. Ali was not multifaceted. He was not. He was great at the things he did. And I have no problems calling him the greatest. I have no problems calling Sugar Ray Robinson the great. I have no problem with these things. But you can't romanticize it into saying they were perfect fighters when they wasn't, right? Like Sugar Ray Leonard. The first time around against Duran, Duran took him to a big man's school of boxing. You can't fight inside. How are you going to beat me? And Duran gave him a beating. He staggered him badly at one stage, and he thoroughly deserved the win. Leonard gave it a good go. He gave it a good go. Leonard was not great at fighting inside fighters at their own game. He was not, right? Like, don't point out the Tommy Hearns fight, because Tommy is not an inside fighter. And if you know anything about, but it's not me trying to diss. You know that Tommy is a long range hitter. That's what he is. Long range right crosses, bang the jab in. Tommy's not has got no inside game. When Leonard stole the decision of Hagler, I hate that fight. I fucking hate that. Anyway, I hate that fight because he didn't win the fight, right? Every time Hagler came inside, what was he doing? Just trying to grab Hagler's arm and shit like that and waiting for the referee to break up the clinch and throwing these silly little flurries. I'm sorry, I'm a Sugar Ray Leonard fan, but I don't give a shit. I hate that fight. The way they took Hagler's title away after all them years he defended it, that was fucked up. that shit was fucked up. That shit was fucked up. He didn't win that fight. Leonard was not a great inside fighter. He struggled against Ayub Kaluli, a deadly inside fighter. And he wouldn't go nowhere near Mike McCallum. What? The body snatcher. I mean, the reward to risk assessment against Hagler was the right fight for Leonard. So he took that fight because Hagler was tailing down after the Mugabe performance where he just didn't look that good. You know what I mean? He didn't look that good. And that fight persuaded Leonard to take the Hagler fight. You know? But even Hagler at times used to make bad ring decisions against Leonard. A fight which I thought Hagler won. But in saying that, Marvin gave away the first 3 or 4 rounds. Everybody knew that Marvin was supposed to come out using the southpaw stance. But Marvin, because he had a hatred for Leonard, he had a bad hatred for Leonard. You see, even the mentally toughest guys, you can get inside their head. And Ray got inside Marvin's head. You know, when Marvin was interviewed, what's the training camp like? What's the tactics going to be? Marvin was letting his ego get the better of common sense. Well, I don't know, man. I might not even knock Ray out. I might just outbox him and show him that I'm a bit... No. Wrong words. That's just the wrong tactics for Marvin. The wrong tactics. And I have to give Leonard his due. In the early rounds, he boxed like a... To be honest, it was some of the best boxing I've seen in my life, some of the early round boxing by Leonard. I have to admit that. But when it got to the middle rounds, to me, Leonard wasn't in it. He wasn't in it. What did he do? But in saying that, Marvin gave away a lot of rounds. Like what I said in the Antuofermo fight. He gave it away because he wasn't decisive. And the judges bit him in the keister, so to speak, because of that. And you have to say, Tommy Hearns needed range to throw his bombs. He needed range. Yeah? He was good at hitting stationary targets. Now, if Floyd employed the same movement that he used against Corrales to stay out of range from the right hand, it would have gave Tommy trouble because Tommy was not a hunter. Tommy liked to get a nice range on you, a nice distance, bang the jab in and bang. But Tommy wasn't a guy who could go after you and start creating attacks. He could do it, but that wasn't his game. Tommy would rather keep the range and bang in the shots. That's Tommy Hearns. He could do it, but that wasn't his game. He would have struggled to do that against Floyd. He just would have. And with Floyd's dexterity to be able to punch from both hands, there's a good chance that Floyd might have hurt Tommy because Tommy didn't have a great chin. See, I know it's horrible to say these things because they're great fights. I know they're great. I know they're all-time greats. I know they are. I know they are. Yeah? But if Dennis Andrews can floor Tommy Hearns, and it was a knockdown, Tommy admitted it was a knockdown after, you know, what can you say? I'm not saying Floyd would have beat all of them. I'm just saying, don't count Floyd out. Don't count Floyd out of these matchups. Yeah? Because they weren't perfect fighters, right? And so far, it has to be said, I don't care if you want to go back here, there, or everywhere. Floyd has showed a multi-faceted approach to boxing. And somebody was saying that Floyd's got the same style as James Toney. Yeah, to a degree. But James Toney was lazy. Floyd is not lazy. James Toney was lazy. A lot of these guys are great fighters, but they have glaring flaws. And I'm not saying Floyd is a perfect fighter. He's just showed less flaws than a lot of fighters you can mention. I don't care how great you want to. I'm not saying he's greater than them, but he showed a lot less flaws than a lot of fighters. And it shows up in them CompuBox stats. It shows up. It shows up. This isn't me trying to say Floyd is the greatest. Because look, I'm going to keep it real with you. To a degree, I think it's disrespectful. Just to budge out the Sam Langfords, Jack Johnsons, Sugar Ray Robinsons, you know, and the Joe Lewises, and all these young bucks. Yo, fuck them, I'm the greatest. No, in a way, I always think you should just let the OGs take the chairs before you do. And what you should do is be humble and wait until you're an OG and the young bucks do the same. That's how it should run, really. That's how it should run, right? I have no problems with saying Langford, Robinson, Ali are the I have no problems. Yeah? They have legacy and a story. Floyd hasn't concluded his career yet. And the thing is, there shouldn't even be no shame attached to admitting this, because he's learned from all them guys. Where do you think he's got all these techniques from? He's got it from all the greats. And now he's putting it together and he's a hybrid. He's an ill hybrid of all that. So he should be more accomplished than them. In fact, Floyd shouldn't be out there, him and Andre Ward, so accomplished in most departments. More of them fighters should be. They're not studying. They're not studying the old school enough. Like, there's a guy named Gambit. He made some good points. He made some bad points in his vid. It was heavily flawed, in my opinion. But he was right. A lot of these young bucks are not studying the history. Yeah? And when you don't study the history, you can't really become part of the lifeblood of it. You need to study the history. But he also made some points that didn't qualify. Like he said, Ray Robinson fought Joey Maxim at light heavyweight. And he said Floyd wouldn't fight Maxim. He wouldn't take on somebody so heavy. Yeah, because he started at junior lightweight. How much weights do you want this guy to go up? Come on, let's be fair. Let's have a little parity of fairness. How much weight divisions do you want? Let's just throw him in the ring with Klitschko and just get him murdered. Let's just do that. Joey Maxim weighs 12 stone 7. By the time it's fight time, he's probably about 13 and a half. Come on, man. Come on. Floyd's 5'8". 5'7". Come on, man. Ray Robinson started at welterweight. That's at least 4 or 5 divisions heavier than where Floyd started. How's he going to fight Joey Maxim? How did you correlate that into your argument? And you did make some good points. Yeah? Apart from calling Kid Gavilan Kid Gavilian. But you made some good points in your vid. But that... And there was a few more, but I'm not going to go and pick the whole of your video apart. Nobody can call Floyd a coward for not taking on Sergio Martinez. You can't. He's a middleweight. You can't. Like I said, Hagler didn't budge or respond to the Michael Spinks challenge. He didn't respond. Why should he? Why should he? Marvin Hagler's 5'8". Spinks is 6'2" or something, or 6'1". That's why there are weight classes. You fight in the division that fits your body type. You don't fight in divisions where you're going to risk your health. Look, that's stupid. That is stupid. That's not bravery. No. You can't, don't tell me that's bravery. It's not bravery. Yeah? Now, if you're weighing up your risk to reward assessment and you do that, fair enough. If fighters decide to do it, I've got no problem with it. But for us to demand that fighters have to move, no, there's no onus on fighters to move up weights. There just isn't, in my opinion. I want to go back to James Toney for a minute. I remember I was on Eastside Boxing and I think they was talking about Tommy Hearns versus James Toney. And I never thought about that matchup. But when I started to think about it, that's just a bad match for Tommy to take. A bad matchup, stylistic. It just is. I know Tommy Hearns is a legend, but it's just a bad matchup for Tommy. Just a bad matchup. A counter puncher who can come forward. I'm sure you've heard about the dangers in fighting them. And an elite one as well. You know, Tommy's not a volume puncher. He likes banging out single shots or 1-2s. He's not a volume puncher. So he can't overcome Tony that way. He's going to be throwing single shots. Yeah? Which Tony's going to be tucking up his shoulder on his chin, just waiting to bang in. It's a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup. Plus he's got a solid chin. Yeah? It's not a good matchup. It's not a good matchup. And like a lot of people were crying me down. Oh, what are you talking about, man? Hearns would kill him. Hearns would kill him. Because you're just romanticizing it. Because we know he's a great. We know he's a great. But when you match boxes up strength to strength, it doesn't always play out like that. It just doesn't. It's a bad match stylistically for him. It just is. And you see, when you make an assessment like that, people are trying to say, oh, so you're trying to say that Tony's a better fighter than Hearns. No. It's just this particular matchup wouldn't fare well for Tommy, in my opinion. Yeah? I mean, James Toney got outpointed by someone named Drake Thadze, who just volume punched him out of the decision. And you think, well, how did that happen? There was one time when James Toney was at his peak, when he was middleweight champion, just after he beat Michael Nunn. I never saw this fight. I'm going to have to try and dig up for it. It was against a guy named David Tiberi, a white fighter. The fight was supposed to be such a bad decision that I think the government and thing was supposed to step in on the commit. It was such a bad decision. Like the boxing news just kept bringing up different developments in the story. And apparently David Tiberi just outworked Tony. Just outworked him. Because, I mean, if you caught Tony on the right day, that you could do that to him. You could do that. As good as he was, you could do that to him. But you have to say, so far in the careers, dudes like Andre Ward and Floyd, they don't come out lazy. And if not more so, they're just as prepared for any style as Hagler, Leonard, Hearns, any of them guys from the era. And it's just the truth. It's just the truth. No one's saying they're better. I'm not saying they're better. I'm saying they're just as prepared. There should be no shame in admitting that. They should be. Because, they've got the whole of the history to study. Like Andre Ward has had B-Hop's career to study. Yeah? He's looked at that. And it's showing in his boxing. Like Michael Jackson used to study how James Brown used to dance. Like Jeffrey Daniels showed him the moonwalk. And then he took it to the next level on a commercial stage. Nobody's saying that he's better than them. But he managed to excel on a different stage to them guys. You know? And that's supposed to happen. What do we want? So what are we saying? We just want all the great boxers just to be stuck in the 60s and nobody can have comparable skills to Robinson or Joe Louis. You know, because nostalgia is so important to us. That's crazy. That's got to be crazy. And don't get me wrong. Yeah? Dudes like Sam Langford. Guy was about 5'7", tackling full-grown heavyweights. Yeah? So, more than likely, he could have just fought in any era, any weight that he chose. More than likely. Especially if he had a modern-day diet and modern-day training regimes, and if he had a sponsor where he didn't have to be worrying about keeping a roof. You're talking to the converted here. But we have to talk about eras as they are, you know? Because these are things you have to factor in. Is a light heavyweight from the early part of the 19th century. Is to say a world-class light heavyweight. And compare him to Evander Holyfield. Holyfield started as a light heavyweight, as a pro. Through diet, supplements, and some crazy training regime, he's been able to fight in the heavyweight division for... Damn, how long has he been there? Maybe a bit too long, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Long blood clot time. Right? You just have to factor in that when he came off the Olympics, he had a sponsor. He didn't have to worry about accommodation, putting a roof over his head and shit. All he had to do is focus on boxing. That's all he's ever had to do. That's all he's ever had to do. Yeah? Like, when he bulked up to be a heavyweight, he went to this guy named Mark Hallmark. And these guys are sports scientists. They're scientists in sports. Didn't have that them days. So by the time he got a dietitian and a man to handle all the supplements, and he's a fully fledged heavyweight, and he's been functioning so for years. The light heavyweights of that day, they just couldn't do what he was doing. They just couldn't. They couldn't. Not at the level they couldn't. They couldn't. Or a David Haye. He started at light heavyweight, his pro career. He started as a light heavyweight, you know? And these days, like, if you want to be really meticulous, you can work out your diet to a science. Just like the Matrix when they gave him that pot of ghoul, you can make sure you get just enough supplements in your body or nutrients out of your food when you're not getting no more or no, you're getting the right amount for your performance. And shit like that. But David Haye doesn't go on long runs. He doesn't go on long runs. He does that, I don't know how much, he probably maybe do a 400-meter sprint. You just go all out, 400 meters, just all out. And maybe do 3 of them a session. 3 or 4 of them a session. I remember my next door neighbor, I used to go training with him at Alexander Palace. And we used to do hill sprints. I tell you what, man, I'd rather do a 6-mile run than the hill sprints. I'm telling you. The hill sprint, whoa, but effective. The hill sprints, oh my days. Hard, you know what I mean? As opposed to just running. Because there is evidence that, especially for fighters in the higher weights, there's evidence that that does damage to the knees and the back and the joints. And if you're playing sports over a prolonged period, I've learned a lot from what I've learned from a lot of people. You need to protect your spinal column. You need to. And that's what happened to Richie Waddle. Years of running, years of hard running on the concrete. Cartilage damage in his back, had to retire. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's not get it twisted, you know what I mean? Like, the new school need to pay homage to the old. They need to. But at the same time, we need to acknowledge the genius, what we have today, you know? And it would probably be interesting to see Ray Robinson fighting today. I mean, damn, he was undefeated as it was. And he was taking on all them fights. Imagine if he was fighting less today and taking more time to study for one opponent. Because them days, I mean, you saw how much fights there were and non-title fights. And there was no video machine then. You wasn't studying no opponents, yeah? Because the fight film reels, not everybody had access to them. Ray probably didn't have access to them. Most fighters didn't have access to them. Yeah? 40s and 50s. Didn't have it. And I don't think that was a big part of boxing then, studying other fighters to fight them. I don't think it was. You probably learn a few things by hearsay from the camps, or you'd get a spy to go in and watch. And that was it. Let's not get it twisted. Yeah, if Ray was fighting today, and he had 2 months to focus on Andre Ward, whew, damn. You see, them days, fighters were not pressured to learn more than what they had to do to succeed. You know, like, let's take the Carmen Basilio bout, what he lost the first fight. Today, at the age Ray was, when he was still relatively bout it, he wouldn't have gone into that fight untrained. He just wouldn't have. Because he's fighting less. Yeah? He's fighting less. He knows the Basilio bout is a big event. He can focus and put everything into it. He wouldn't wouldn't have lost the fight. He wouldn't have lost it. He probably have scored a KO if he had bloody 12 weeks to prepare and he would have probably knocked him out. But it is what it is. He's not fighting in this era. But it's interesting to weigh that shit up. It definitely is interesting. I love doing it. And somebody else made a video. I can't remember his name. I should have written them all down, man. You know what I mean? But he said that the Flomos have jumped ship to dick ride Andre Ward. That was the most provocative video of the last few days, you know. So what are you trying to say? Because okay, the Ring magazine after the Dawson bout put Andre Ward at number 2. The Boxing News wrote pound for pound the week after the weekend after Ward beat Dawson. So the Boxing News says the pound for pound best. The Ring magazine have him at number 2. Now, let's face it. When you're at number 2, you're going to have a big bulk of the boxing public debating he should be at number 1. The Ring magazine are not Flomos. They're mostly Europeans. The Boxing News are not Flomos. A lot of the people who are saying Andre Ward is number 1 are not Flomos. They're not African American, they're not black, and they are not ex-Flomos. No one's coerced them into saying it. They've assessed the Super 6 tournament, the opponents, and they've concluded that he's number 1. There has been a lot of boxing fans from all different ethnicities who have expressed their frustration that Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather take up so much discussion time and they still haven't fought. Yeah? Nobody jumped ship to Andre Ward. We're just acknowledging, yeah, that Pacquiao lost his last fight, even if it was controversial. The fight against Marquez was a robbery. Floyd's just come out of jail. He's fought once in nearly 2 years. Yeah? He's too inactive to be the pound for pound number 1. He's too inactive. Somebody has to go to number 1. And a lot of us feel it's Andre Ward. And I'm in that camp. How the fuck is that jumping off Floyd's dick to jump on Andre Ward's dick? That video, it did annoy me. And how I haven't remembered your name. In fact, I'll be back with it in a second. Because I can do that. There we go. Big Trav's Boxing 79. Dude, your video is ridiculous. Your video is ridiculous. If you think Sergio Martinez is the pound for pound number 1, you are in your full right to express that. I have no problem with that. I don't agree with it. Not by a long chalk. I don't agree with it. What? Fighting Chavez Jr., Matthew Macklin, and Darren Barker. You name me one world-class opponent between the 3 of them who them guys have beat. Macklin, Barker, and Chavez Jr. Name one. Name one. And don't talk to me about no linear championship that he won the belt from Pavlik, that Pavlik won from Jermaine Taylor to Bernard. Fuck all that shit. Fuck all of that shit. That's bullshit. Yeah? Michael Spinks had the linear championship. There's no way he was ever a more authentic heavyweight or a better heavyweight champion than Mike Tyson. There's just no way. So that argument doesn't stand up. The only way linear championships have any value is if you go back to the 70s when there was just 2, at least just 2. Or back to the 50s or 60s when for the majority of the time it was just 1. And even them times you'd get the NBA and this NYSCA. A lot of times, you know what I mean? But you get the gist. when there wasn't so many belts. Because if you've got a linear championship, the fact is there are 4 other belts out there. So if you've got a linear championship, it doesn't mean shit. You can still cherry pick. Yeah? If that linear championship belt is the only belt there at that weight, then it has credibility. Because when your mandatories come up and you duck them, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide, yeah? There's nowhere to hide. You know what I mean? Then it has weight. Today it has no weight. What? You telling me Barker and Macklin were not cherry-picked opponents? And don't tell me about Macklin coming close to beating Felix Sturm. He lost the fight. He lost. Don't even bring that in. It's an L. It was an L. Before he fought Martinez, he had never beaten a world-class opponent. Now, granted, he beat that guy Alcine, or what, I don't know how to pronounce it. That guy Alcine. That's his biggest win. That's his biggest win. Because the guy was a former world champion. Quote-unquote world champion. But before that, in my opinion, you could say Macklin was lucky to get 2 shots at the world title. 2! When I watched D-Block Express's video, I had to check the date of his video to see, oh, is this guy copying my shit? Because we just seem to be on the same train of thought for most of what he said in his video compared to what I said. But he released his one earlier than I did by a day. I don't know, we was probably just zoning into the same frequency of the thought, and that's just that. The only difference between my video and his is he talks like that, man, and I talk like this now, really. The only difference is that he actually committed to saying that Floyd was better than Sugar Ray Robinson, or at least that's how it appeared. You know what I mean? Good vid, good vid. You know, to conclude the video, there are debates in boxing that you can't have in other sports. Like, debate in boxing is for very hard-headed males like myself. That's who it's designed for, yeah? If you take a sport like football, you can only debate individual players, how great they are. That's all you can. You can't debate teams. You actually can't debate the greatness of teams. Why? Here's why. Well, Brazil have won the World Cup 4 or 5 times. You haven't. That's it. It's finished. It's done. It's done. That's it done. It's done right there. Yeah? Athletics, sprinting. Who's the best out of Jesse Owens and Usain Bolt? Well, Jesse Owens run 10.0 or whatever. Usain Bolt ran 9.5 that. It's over. It's finished. It's finished right there. That's it. That's it. That's it. Boxing. How do you do it? How do you do it? Rocky Marciano, 49-0. Well, he's got to be the greatest. He never lost. He's got to be the greatest. How much defenses did he make? And who against? So the Rocky fans are going to stick to their criteria. He was undefeated. 49-0. The Joe Louis fans are going to say, well, look how much defenses I made. The Muhammad Ali fans are going to say, well, look how much times I won the championship. The Mike Tyson fans are going to say, well, Mike unified all 3 belts and cleared out the division. There's no barometer to determine who's right. But, you know, like I said, this shit is perfect for hard-headed males like me. Debating sport is great for males like me because we don't have to confront other aspects of our psyche while we're debating sport or chasing women. You know what I'm saying? It's a diversion from a lot of the complex wiring that's in there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Till the next one, I'll see you then. That's all I can say. Peace out. Peace.